It is time for 72 hours in the reading nook. This is a readathon that I am hosting with two of my closest friends, Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy and Mel from Melinar Reads. For this round, we are also being joined by Monica from A Little Bit of Monica. So this weekend, spinner wheels will be determining what I read. We have two wheels in your comfort zone and out of your comfort zone. Each day you pick a wheel to spin and read a book based on the prompt. It is almost time for a kickoff sprint, so my 72 hours is about to start. I have very, very big reading plans. Hi, Winston. Winston's here to encourage me. So my first spin I decided to do in my comfort zone. Since Thursday is the shortest day, I figured I would start with that, and then either Friday or Saturday I will be reading out of my comfort zone. So I'm starting with a book in my most read format, which is audiobooks, which I'm so excited about. I have some options, but I think I'm going to start with This Wretched Valley. It is 7:08, so we're an hour into this. Sprints have been so fun already, and I made it 7% into This Wretched Valley. I'm gonna DNF it. I don't like the writing. I don't care about anything. I'm struggling to focus on it, so that's all. I don't have anything to say. It's a survival book. Maybe there's some cannibalism, which I'm really bummed that I didn't get to that part, but it is what it is. I don't have time to read things I'm not interested in, and will probably give 2 to 3 stars anyway. I've had so many people on sprints tell me to DNF, and people that would tell me the ending, but I don't even care about the ending. So we did another spin.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Monica's is sipping. Author you've read before.
Oh no. Okay.
That is so close.
Okay, thanks. I'm the only one that doesn't have a wheel. It was really sad, but I got an author I've read from before. So I'm going to be reading Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Shauna McGuire. This is book 9 in this series. I've read and loved in the series before. The last one that came out was one of my favorites of last year. Didn't make my top list, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I have high hopes for this one. This one I'm assuming is set in a dinosaur world. We are only on a 15-minute sprint, so I won't have much time to read, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Here is my reading nook setup. Sprints are on here. The book I'm about to start. I have my ring light over here, my little heater, this bed, and it's all in my bookshelves. This is my TBR, but if things from that don't work for the wheel, I will obviously pick from my TBR over there. Hey, Bowser. I'm gonna edit a little because we're on such a short sprint. What do you think about that? It's 8 o'clock, and I'm 40% into parts, nope, Mislaid in Parts Half Known, which just got to part 2, where they go through the door into the dinosaur world, I'm assuming. So this is the first book in this series, and the first part of this book is set at the home for children, the school, whatever, that we are getting to know in this first one and that we come back to throughout the series. So there's that part. We are also following the character who was the main character in the previous one, which I feel like doesn't happen super often. We revisit characters a lot, but I feel like it's not usually in the one that comes right after. But I think this is my favorite in the series, so I'm excited to be back with this character. And it is following her after she has left her world, obviously, and she has the ability to find things, and somebody has decided that they are going to force her to find their door for them. The first part I don't have any real thoughts about. I always like being back in this world and with these characters. I will say that they are referencing a lot of things that happened, and I remember the things that happened, but not the character's name that's attached to it, so I'm like, you're who and you did what? But I'm still having a good time with it. I think that the second part of it is going to be more interesting because it is in a different world, and the ones that are not set at the school tend to be more interesting to me. So that's how it's going, 40%, and I'm just going to check in again at the end. I'm interested to see how the dinosaurs and everything come into play in this. It's 10:30 p.m. and I have finished Mislaid in Parts Half Known. I'm thinking, okay, it's only 10:30. I cannot be acting like this. I am going to give this 3.5 stars. It is not my favorite in this series. I have decided that the quest kind of stories where we're following many characters just doesn't work for me as well as the ones that are focused on one character. So we are mainly following Antsy from the last one, but we're also still watching tons of the characters, both in Eleanor West's home and the doors that they go through. We are seeing them go through multiple doors, and it just, I don't know, I just don't get as invested. All of the previous ones that they are doing a quest or following multiple characters just are not my favorite, and I don't think that the characters are really what carries these stories for me. It is really the world and the characters kind of discovering things individually that really work for me. So I did enjoy this, but it's not a favorite in this series. I do wish we got a little more of the dinosaur stuff, but I don't know if that was really promised. I mean, it is a little, but it's not most of the book. I enjoyed it, just not a favorite. We did another spin. I'm scared. Okay.
New author.
Cool. For this one, I am going to go with The Laws of Disguise. I don't exactly know how to pronounce this author's name, but I have the audiobook for this. I have not read from this author, and I've had this one recommended to me, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope it goes well. I really need to love something to kind of motivate myself to keep going. Not that I'm gonna quit, but I just really I'm getting tired, so I think I need to be invested in a story for me to like have my motivation back. I have made it 90 pages into The Laws of the Skies, and I am hating this. The first chapter is just like so weird and annoying, and there's just like a lot of butt stuff. I don't like the writing. The writing is my main issue, and I hate it. It's 12:30 a.m. So this book, I might spoil it a little. We are following a class of 6-year-olds who are going into the forest for a camping trip, and then they start to play a game where they imagine monsters everywhere, and then one by one they must learn the laws of the skies. So it's a modern Lord of the Flies, which I hate, by the way. So at the beginning, this lady gets sick. There's 3 chaperones and then this class of 6-year-olds. I think there's like 20 of them. And the one gets sick. We see her at the very beginning puking and pooping everywhere. And then these kids are like, oh, look at you. And then she wipes her butt with leaves. Anyway, so the one leaves because she's sick, and the other one is walking in the forest for some reason. I can't remember. She gets lost. The adults all die, and there's this like really sucky kid that is like the leader of the bad things happening. That's what's going on. They're just kind of all dying, which happens in The Lord of the Flies. Different things are happening, putting them in these situations to like seeing these children's true characters and stuff, whatever. So I have a couple of issues. One, the writing in the middle of a page that looks completely normal, like there's no page breaks or anything, it will switch different perspectives. So we are in third person, but like there's no page break, there's nothing, and we will just be in somebody's head, and then like they're thinking about something and then it just switches to another character, and I'm like, why is this happening? I really don't like it. That's my main issue. It makes no sense. I don't understand why that's happening. And then also, these don't feel like 6-year-olds. They feel a lot older, and then randomly there will be a comment that I'm like, oh yeah, they're supposed to be 6-year-olds, and it's just so I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah, I'm not having a good time with this. It's gory, I guess, but I'm not having a good time. The fact that they're 6-year-olds, it's not like impacting me at all that they're 6-year-olds, because I don't feel like 6-year-olds until they like make a comment like how they want their mommy. I'm like, go away. Not having a good time, but I am going to finish it because why not? Apparently the ending is something else, so I'm going to finish it. I'm very tired, like so tired. Good times over here. I think I'm going to read Out of My Comfort Zone tomorrow, which I'm very excited about because today has not gone well. So I have my little snack basket that I made. Some Chester's hot fries, some Cheetos popcorn, some Chips Ahoy cookies. I have Jolly Ranchers down there. And I did have this bag of Cheez-Its, but I ate them. 1 star. I don't have anything to say. I didn't like this. I don't like The Lord of the Flies. It very much felt like that. The ending of it, I truly did not care about. I didn't like the writing. It just switched around too much. It wasn't good. I did not like it. I didn't like the plot. Didn't like the characters. Didn't like the way the characters were written. Like, it was just really weird, them being 6-year-olds, and not because I'm like, oh, I can't believe they were 6-year-olds. Like, it just didn't feel like 6-year-olds. That's all I have to say. Really, I didn't like this. I am unhauling this. That's it. Don't let me read things that say they're like Lord of the Flies anymore. because I didn't like The Lord of the Flies at all. So why did I do this to myself? So I spun again, and this is the last spin for In My Comfort Zone for the night, because tomorrow will be a new day, and I think I'm going to switch to the Out of My Comfort Zone wheel. So I got Near to Me author, and for this I'm going to be reading A Guest in the House by Emily Carroll. I heard about this from Gabby Reads, and I think one of her winter ween vlogs, so I want to get to this one. It looked really cool. That's my plan. It's 1:30 in the morning, so we're on our last sprint. I have sprints in 6.5 hours that I'm hosting, so RIP to myself. That's all. I'm going to read this book. Bye. It's 2 in the morning. I have finished A Guest in the House. Just going to smack myself in the face with this heavy book. I don't even know what to say about this book. It's about a woman who gets married to someone and starts possibly, possibly seeing the ghost of her husband's dead wife. Ex-wife? I don't know how that works. Widowed wife? She doesn't know who she's supposed to believe or anything like that. I don't know what to say about this book. I don't know what happened. I'm confused. I guess like 3.5, 3 stars. Okay, good night. Good morning. It is Friday. It is like 8:30 at this point. I started sprints, and I am taking the first sprint to dry my hair. I got a shower before sprint started. I got 4 hours of sleep, but I'm feeling good for now. I'm gonna make some waffles and dry my hair. And I have decided I'm going to start Dig by A.S. King as a new to me author. I'm excited for these waffles. I just used like frozen waffles, but I put peanut butter and Nutella on it. So I have made it 7% into this one, Dig by A.S. King, and I'm gonna DNF it. It just feels so, don't leave me. Every time I talk, you leave me, and it's so rude. It just feels so YA, and I just really don't like reading like general YA books anymore. I mean, I never was really like super into them, but I think I would have needed to read this a couple years ago when it was super popular to get invested in it. The writing is a little odd, and I don't know. It feels too much like high school drama that I don't want to read about. So some YA does work for me, but this one just is not. I guess 7% is the percentage that I'm going to get to anytime I DNF a book. So I'm kind of really upset about this one because it has such high ratings, but it's just not the book for me. I'm very interested because it's about potatoes, and also I think it deals a lot with white supremacy, but just the writing and the like YA focus of it is not my favorite. So I now have another spin, and I got a book under 300 pages, and I am going to try another YA book. It's over there, so I need to go get it, but I'm going to start How to Survive Your Murder, I believe is the title, by Danielle Valentine. This one's out of my comfort zone because it's YA, and also I've given this author 2 stars previously. So fingers crossed this one goes better. Oh, this is an interesting angle, but I wanted to show you Bowser. Oh, so cute. So I am now a third into How to Survive Your Murder by Danielle Valentine. This is YA and from an author I have not liked before, so very out of my comfort zone, and I was considering DNFing this for a little bit. It's so YA, and it is a YA book, so like that's not really a fault of the book, just my personal preference. But I was like, I have a signed personalized copy, so I'm just gonna continue, and I was starting to like it more. It's feeling 3 stars, and then there's this thing that happened. I will have to look in the synopsis before I talk to you next. I'm down here to make lunch. It's like a little after 1. It's like a little after 1. I forgot I needed a vlog before I came down, so that's why I don't have my book. But with the twist, I'm like so invested. So that's exciting for me. It definitely does feel very YA, but I can get past it more now that there's interesting things going on. So now I'm looking forward to continuing significantly more than before. It is 5:30. I'm doing terribly today. I just got to around 2/3 into How to Survive Your Murder. I took a little bit of a nap because I couldn't do it. 4 hours of sleep was not enough. So, I don't know. In my head, I would have been through like 2 books by this point, and I'm not even through a full book. So that's unfortunate for me, but I am enjoying this. So at first I was considering DNFing, and then there's a thing that happens, and that definitely impacted the plot, but it wasn't quite as like, the plot isn't that's just a thing for the plot, if that makes any sense. So I did enjoy that, and I like the switch that happens at that point more. It definitely ends up being more of a slasher feel after that, but it's not like an absolute favorite. It's feeling like 3.5 to 4 stars, so I'm definitely liking it. But I just like want to be obsessed with the book right now. I'm definitely liking this a lot more than the other book I read by Danielle Valentine, though. Is this a series? I feel like it might be. And I would probably pick up the second one. This is reminding me a lot of My Heart is a Chainsaw. The main character is so obsessed with slasher movies and like the idea of final girls and stuff, and that is very much what happens in My Heart is a Chainsaw. I do like that one significantly more because I like the character more. But if you like the like obsession with slashers and horror movies, this is a fun one for that. I'm interested to see how it wraps up. I've heard that the ending is what caused people to give it an even higher rating, and I'm intrigued. Like, I really want to know. So I'm gonna get back to reading. I want to finish this as soon as possible. In theory, I'd still like to get through 2 more books. Depends on the length and how much I can focus, because I'm really struggling. I finished How to Survive Your Murder by Danielle Valentine, and I'm really glad I did not DNF this. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think once I kind of adjusted to it being so YA, I was enjoying it more, and once it kind of started the more horror stuff, I also really liked it. I think there's some really fun twists in here. I wouldn't say that I felt like super invested at any point or connected to the characters, so that's why it is 4 stars instead of 5, but I would recommend it if you like YA slashers. It definitely reads very YA. Once again, not a fault of the book, but for my personal taste, that definitely impacted some of my opinions. This had a little fun twist on the slasher stuff with some more out there elements to it, but I really liked that part, and I thought that the very end was fun as well. I would read more YA stuff from her. I saw her at an event recently, and she's talking about her next YA slasher, and it sounded good, but also her next adult book, I think, has cannibalism, so interested in that as well. So, glad that I pushed through this. The first, like, 20% was not my favorite at all, but this is my highest rated book so far, so that is good. So, still out of my comfort zone, I did another spin.
Ready, Lexi?
Yep.
Hey, pretty good. That was pretty good. TBR.
I just bumped my hand and made me stop recording.
Liar, you just don't want TBR vet.
I started recording again. TBR vet.
TBR vet and a 30-minute sprint.
Okay. Nova made this a little bit chaotic. I was originally thinking that I was going to go with Rosemary's Baby because it's a classic. It's been on my TBR for a while. I haven't had it a super long time, but I've like wanted to read it for a while. But I decided that I'm actually going to go with Paperbacks from Hell. I am not somebody that has Audible at all times, but I have a 3-month free trial right now, and the audiobook for this is included with Audible Plus. So while I have that, because I think it's only through March, I wanted to get to this. This is a nonfiction book about horror books, and I just started this. I just got through the little prologue, and I think it's going to be interesting enough, but I don't want to just sit and read this, so I am going to do another spin once we go back to sprints for my novel that I'm going to read. So I have 2 more from my physical TBR, and then 1 other short fantasy novella that was recommended to me, so we'll see what I end up getting. But I would like to work my way through this tonight, but like it's definitely not one I can just sit and read the whole time, and if this one goes into tomorrow, that's fine as well.
Most used format.
Thank you. 10:30 p.m. and I made it 20% into Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. Mel and Cass both recommended this to me. They're still trying to figure out my fantasy taste and said that I could like this one, and I did not. I'm DNFing it. I don't care about anything. We're following someone whose family is attacked and killed by these, oh, I forget what they're called. The lion, dragon, scorpion things. Those. And she and her giant bird are trying to exist. I just didn't care. I was not invested. Why do you always leave when I talk? A manticore. I looked it up. It's a manticore that kills her mom and her brother, and her dad is like can't believe you're the one that was left. So then her and this giant bird are like paired together, and they are on a hunt for these manticores. So yeah, I just don't care about it. I had no interest, truly. I'm sorry. So I spun again and I got wild. So I think my book is under my computer, but I think I'm going to start Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. This is the author of Night Film, which I enjoyed a few years ago when I read it. And I just reread the synopsis for this and it sounds so good. So I'm really excited to pick that one up next. It's midnight and I have some updates for you. So I made it 27% into Neverworld Wake, and I'm gonna DNF this one as well. I didn't care about any of the characters. I thought that the plot in theory was very interesting. We are following 5 friends, and then one of them, Jim, dies. Jim is our main character's boyfriend, and then they've graduated for a year and they come back and they find themselves at this estate, and a mysterious man knocks on the door and announces the impossible. Time for them to become stuck, snagged on a splinter that can only be removed if the former friends make harshest of decisions. They are told that they are in the Neverworld Wake and that they have actually died, and they have to make a unanimous decision for one of them to live. Everybody else dies in this car accident that they're actually in. They have like a 12-hour period that keeps looping and looping and looping. It was just getting really repetitive and I wasn't interested in what was happening. In theory, the concept is so cool, but it was just too repetitive for me and I was finding myself zoning out and not caring. And I didn't really care about any of the characters either. I needed their day-to-day stuff to be more interesting, or the characters to be more interesting. That wasn't happening. I think it's because it's YA, which is my phrase of the day. So another book that I did not finish. I have also decided that I'm actually gonna just DNF Paperbacks from Hell. Here's the thing. I made it 23 pages in, and I have seen his show that he does, like his touring show based on Paperbacks from Hell, and that was very interesting and fun, and I feel like I got all the information I needed from that, and I don't need to read this whole thing. This is something that I like want to just like look through and look at the covers and everything, but I'm just gonna put this on my shelves. It's a nonfiction book about like stuff that I'm interested in, but not enough to read this whole book, especially after getting the condensed version from Grady Hendrix himself. So today is the day of DNFs. I for sure am going back to the In My Comfort Zone reads tomorrow because I have tons more options for that from my shelves. I am liking getting through some things that I own. I really wish this was going better. It is technically midnight, and usually whenever I do these things, the day ends when I go to bed, but I think I might just go by the actual day and just switch back to In My Comfort Zone now because I just can't do this anymore. I really can't. While I ended up really liking How to Survive Your Murder, this has not been a good day. I decided to switch back to In My Comfort Zone, and I spun, and I got an author I've read from before, so I went with Don't Move by James S. Murray and Darren Raramouth. This is the author of The Stowaway, one of my favorites of last year. This is a bug book. So far, so good. I'm so tired. I'll give you an actual synopsis when I am functioning, hopefully in the morning. So I'm going to bed. Bye. It's Saturday morning. It's like 11:30, and yes, it is way later than I anticipated, but I needed sleep. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. No, I got 4 hours of sleep the night before, and then I took like a 30-minute nap. And it was just not enough. I was not functioning. So I slept in today. I got ready and I am on sprints. And while I was getting ready, I was listening to some more of Don't Move. And I am like 46% in, just under halfway. So in this, we are following Megan Forrester. And at the very beginning, like the first chapter, we see this very horrific event happen to her 2 sons. She is at a carnival and her 2 sons are on a ride that are malfunctioning and they don't survive. So she decides to join a local church's annual camping trip, and they all have dark secrets. And they end up stranded in an untouched canyon in the West Virginian National Forest. So they're very isolated and they start to die off. This cover is so cool. I'm really glad that I could get the hardcover. The front and back have this textured spider web that is glow in the dark. And then this is the hardcover. It's very, very fun. So where I am right now, like we know based on the cover, the synopsis, all of this, that there's spiders, but it's not clear exactly what's going on to them at this point. I am enjoying this. It's not as tense for me as The Stowaway, and I think it's because it's not quite as fast paced. I am still liking it. The first chapter I was obsessed with. It was so messed up. And then after that, it's been a lot of setup so far, but where we are right now is definitely where everything is going to start picking up. So I anticipate this being a really good book for me still, but I think I just expected the spider stuff to come into play a little bit earlier. I'm so excited to be back in my comfort zone wheel. Generally, I do like to read out of my comfort zone, but this weekend was not it. I have finished Don't Move, and I'm going to give this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I do think that my favorite part was the first chapter, and I know the synopsis made it very clear that we were going to be like in the woods and stuff, and I just wanted this carnival stuff to continue. I need this duo to write a carnival book immediately. This one just like didn't keep me invested. I wasn't really on the edge of my seat. I always wanted to know what was going on, but I didn't feel like I was sucked into this story, which is what I want in a thriller. This does have a lot of gory stuff, just like The Stowaway, and I would recommend it. There's giant bugs. Also, it's so cool because this cover being glow in the dark actually comes into play in the book, which I was not expecting. I thought it was just like a fun little thing for the cover. I will continue to read from this duo. I know they have a Christmas one coming out later this year, and I also want to go back and read their like horror sci-fi trilogy. I think it's called Awakened. Very interested in that. I'm really glad that I read this. It feels good to be back in my comfort zone. So the next spin has happened.
Okay, here we go. Spinning for the next. And we've landed on less than 300 pages. Right from the beginning. Less than 300 pages and a 40-minute script.
I'm not joking. You know how the other night Nova stopped me from recording? My pets keep turning off my phone while I'm recording. But for less than 300 pages, I'm going to be reading Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clark. I have not read from this author before, but I've heard absolutely incredible things about this one. I've wanted to read it for a while. I'm a little nervous that TBR Vet is going to come up, and I'm gonna wish that I had this one to read instead, because a lot of my other TBR Vets are either long or I don't have the audiobook for, but it's fine. I really wanted to get to this one. This was one of my top, dropping my book. This is one of my top priorities for the weekend, and it is only 181 pages. I just got to chapter 5 in Ring Shout, so I'm about halfway in, and I'm really enjoying this. So in this, in 1915, the birth of a nation casts a spell across America, swelling the clan's ranks and drinking deep from the darkest thoughts of white folk. All across the nation they ride, spreading fear and violence among the vulnerable. They plan to bring hell to earth, but even Ku Kluxes can die. So we are following Maurice and her fellow resistance fighters, a sharpshooter and a hellfighter. In this, the Ku Kluxes are these like very demonic like creature type of things. The first chapter of this, it was this has some really gross stuff in here. My favorite moments in here are the moments where they're like battling these Ku Kluxes. Like, they're messed up. And then whenever it's so disturbing. There's some really gross stuff in here. There's some really disturbing things in here. I'm liking our characters. Other than that, I don't have a ton to say. I am enjoying my time with this. It obviously has a lot of really good things in here. Like, the Ku Klux Klan is awful, so it's really interesting to see a fictionalized version of it and making it even more of like an awful thing. There's obviously a lot of discussion surrounding race and Black people in America in this, and I cannot wait to see some more fights between our main group and the Ku Kluxes. I really like the characters that we're following, and I'm very invested in the story. I really enjoy this one. I think I'm gonna give it 4 to 4.5 stars. I haven't really decided yet. I literally just finished. I think the audiobook for this was incredible, and I think for it being so short that it felt like a complete story to me. There were so many weird things in here. There's a lot of like gross body horror stuff, which I really enjoyed. I had a great time with this. I think I'm gonna go with 4.5 stars for it. I would really recommend it. I think that there were a lot of really great conversations in here with like not the reasoning behind racism, but like how hate just drives awful things to happen, and I think this was really, really well done. I want to read more from this author in the future for sure. I also found myself getting attached to these characters in such a short amount of time. I'm on sprints. I'm hosting, and okay, got an ad. Anyway, I need to do another spin, so here we go. No. 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 Okay, let me see what I have because this would be a physical book. I might use a respin. I will talk to you in a second. So I ended up going with this spin. I am going to be reading Rosebud. I think this is a kind of quirky, weird sci-fi horror, maybe. So we have a 50-minute sprint, and I'm gonna hopefully make a decent chunk in what? Hopefully make a decent dent in this. It is the shortest book I think that I own. So that's really why I picked this one. And I've had it for a while, so I wanted to finally get to it. I DNF this 13 pages in. This was the video of me DNFing everything. This is book number 6 that I have quit. So that's all. The writing, I don't know what's happening. I truly couldn't focus on anything with the way that the sentences were structured, and I don't know. I guess I'm dumb, but that's fine. I don't want to read this anymore. So, time for another spin. Here we go. New to me author. This is not related to me. Cassidy just read Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. And that's all. That's the update. This never happens. I never have both of them sitting with me on this couch. I'm so happy. Hello, Winston. Hello, Nova. It is 12:30 a.m. I haven't updated you for a little bit because I was having a bit of a crisis. So after I DNF'd Rosebud, I spun and got an author I have not read from before, and I was just really struggling to pick something. So it was a whole thing on sprints. I put up a poll for 2 books. I forgot that my prompt was a new to me author, so one of them was a book that I had read from the author previously. I didn't end up going with the other one, and I ended up going with Keep Your Friends Close by Lucinda Berry. I have this on NetGalley. I got an arc of this. It's already out. It's on KU. So I started the audiobook for that because the audio is included with KU. I'm trying to get my NetGalley score up, and I made it 20% into this one. It is dual timeline following the same characters roughly. It's a friend group of moms, and at the very beginning one is found dead in the pool in the backyard, and this feels very unlikely because she was like a competitive swimmer and stuff like that. So we are getting the time at the get-together party thing that they were having, and then also a little bit before, learning about all of the characters and everything. I was liking it. I do want to continue, but I decided to put it down at the moment. I have been liking books during this readathon, but because I've DNF'd so many books, I just feel like I desperately need to be obsessed with something. So I spun again. Author you've read before. No. So I was like, I need to read a horror novella because of Cassidy and the situation with her reading Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. Honestly, Cassidy's vlog is a lot of books that I recommended to her, so you should check that out. So I was like, I need to read a horror novella. So I got an author I read from before, and Jonathan already told me that I should read this. I was like, I just want to read with an audiobook because I can get through it quicker and I'm getting tired. But this one came up and I was like, well, I want to read a horror novella. So I'm reading Candy Cane Kills. This is a Christmas themed slasher. We are following a family who rents a vacation house on Christmas Eve, and they get there. It is very isolated. It is snowy, and they learn that their holiday getaway was the site of a horrific crime, and this family is on the rocks and they'll have to fight for their lives against a legendary killer because Candy Cane is slashing through the snow with a very long naughty list. So I'm about halfway through and I'm really loving it so far. I like seeing the family dynamics. I like that we are getting some different representation in here. There's a mom, a dad, a daughter, and a son. The daughter has onset arthritis and has to use a cane. And the son is possibly questioning if he is gay. There's a little subplot with him and his best friend. So at this point, we have gotten the backstory for this house and the initial horrific crime that happened, and it wasn't expecting that. So where I am now, they have just discovered everything, and things are probably going to start happening very soon, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I think if this continues going how it's going, it's going to be 5 stars, which I needed. I desperately needed. I'm so tired. It is Sunday. It's 10:30 in the morning. I have been up since 7:30, and I joined Monica for sprints starting at 8, and then I got a shower, and then in the last sprint, I finished Candy Cane Kills by Brian McCauley. 5 stars. This is my favorite book of the readathon so far. It is so fun. There's a lot of gory moments in here, but it was also very emotional. Like, I was stressed for the characters, and then also when things happened, couldn't take it. Maybe that's because I'm sleep deprived, but like, I was like, don't cry. Don't cry. Like, doing that thing where if you like do this, you don't cry. Is that a common occurrence? Anyway, 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. This is technically the second book in a series of standalones. I'm super interested in the one that's coming out this summer, I believe. I think it has something to do with time travel, which I'm into. But I do want to pick up the first one. They're all by different authors, so it's not like it's guaranteed to be good, but it's fun. So I recommend reading this, even though it is a Christmas book and it is not Christmas time. I also got 42%, I believe, into Keep Your Friends Close by Lucinda Berry. 43. I read some more last night while I was getting ready for bed and like trying to wind down for the evening. I don't know if I told you what this was about. I think I did a little bit. Rich women and their mommy group and someone dies. I'm enjoying it, but there's a little too much of just like the standard housewife drama that I'm not really interested in. But like, I'm liking it enough to keep reading. So I think it's going to be 3 to 3.5 stars unless it starts to get so unhinged from here out. I want to finish this and one more book today. Not sure what that will be. Hopefully something from my shelves, but also maybe the new John Mars book. I don't know. I don't know why I'm trying to decide that when I still have a decent chunk left in this book. So I'm going to get back to reading. I'm having a great time with this readathon, but also I'm deteriorating. I know that. I have finished Keep Your Friends Close, and I'm going to give this one 3 stars. I didn't really have issues with it. It's just not my preferred kind of thriller. I thought it was going to be a little more rich people drama with, like, them being, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't think it was going to be so domestic. One of the storylines is following a woman who her wife is leaving her. They have a baby, and, like, just her obsession with that. It was just too much. It was too much. I guess the murder mystery stuff was fine, but it's just not specifically a book for me, even though I didn't think it was really bad. So 3 stars for that. And then there was this chaos.
Do you trust my wheel?
No, but that's fine.
Well, that's not good any.
That's not. I'm gonna use my respin for everybody. Respin.
Okay. Well, I was like, that's terrible. Okay, well, that's not as bad.
Yes, it is.
You have more respins?
Get to it.
Oh, God. Okay. There's too much pressure. Hey. Is that better?
What is it? I can't. Is it
greater than 300?
No, that's not better, Mel. Monica's donating a spin. Make her big.
Okay, Deb is donating too. Oh my God, PBR bet.
Spin again. Deb donated a spin.
Here we go. Friend recommend.
I literally already said no.
Does it help you that I also have one you can have?
Sure. I have
Here we
3
go.
options.
Spin again. Respin. Most used format.
Cool, I can work with that.
Thank God.
So, most used format. I'm going with the audio, and I'm going to read Black Vault by Amakatsu. I have an arc for this, and it's on KU with the audiobook included. So I'm going to listen to the audiobook. I think this might have something to do with spies. I don't really know. I'm trying to get through my NetGalley backlog, so we'll see how it goes. So it's 3 o'clock. I have finished Black Vault by Amakatsu. This is a novella, and we are following this man in 2 different timelines. One is in the past when he believes that he saw a UFO, and his reaction to that. He works in the CIA, and he reports it, and it's pretty much like swept under the rug. And then in present time, where it seems like maybe he was correct. So there's kind of some conspiracy theory stuff. There's some CIA agents who are not going rogue, but whatever. It was fine. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I preferred the historical horror that I read from Amakatsu. I don't know if I'm super into CIA stuff, but I do like a good conspiracy theory and like alien stuff. So I'm glad I gave it a go, and I did enjoy it. So we did another spin.
Here we go.
Is that really over 300 pages?
Yeah.
No!
It's also only 15 minutes.
Over the...
Would you like to respin?
Yeah, I'm gonna use like my last respin.
Okay, here we go. Alright, that would be new release.
Cool, I can do that.
And 35 minutes.
Thank you. This one was less chaotic, but I did use my last official respin because I think this is going to be my last book. We have 3 hours left of the readathon, and I'm going to be reading on my Kindle. I have an arc of In Excess of Dark by Red Lego, something like that. So this is the same publisher that wrote, they didn't write it, that published one of my favorite books of last year. This is where we talk things out. So this is a horror novella. It says, what if every terrible thing imagined came true? Every fleeting nightmarish thought a reality. For grief-stricken Karina, her newfound ability to turn her worst daydreams into palpable truths has sent her into a downward spiral of depression and guilt. I'm not going to read the rest of the synopsis, but I just really feel like I need to read another horror novella. This one sounds so good. I put it on my anticipated like 2024 release 5-star prediction video thing. So I definitely wanted to get to it this year. And I figured since I still have 3 hours, I can definitely get through this. It's 135 pages. I think it sounds so good. This comes out in like 2 weeks. I'm excited that I was able to get to it before it came out officially. So I'm going to get started on that now that I've finished Black Vault. I have very high hopes. It's 5:20, almost the end of the readathon. I am not going to be able to finish In Excess of Dark by the official end of the readathon, but I'm still going to finish it. So I'm 53% in, and this is definitely grief horror. We are following a family. Our main character, Karina, and then her husband and her son, and they are kind of struggling as a family, and they go on a camping trip to kind of reconnect in her mind. And they end up having to leave and go to the hospital because the son hurt himself. He's, I think, about to be a senior in high school. And on the way to the hospital, they end up in a car accident, and her son and her husband both die. So she's dealing with the grief of that. And she has started to see these like shadowy human-like figures. She saw one on the way to the campsite, and then she has been seeing them since their death. And she always has had this, like, not power, but she daydreams a lot, and these things that she's daydreaming about tend to kind of come to life. So we hear about some instances with, like, when she was younger, there was a TV show or something about a home invasion, and she thought about it so much, and then it happened to her and her mom, and just like other instances where it could have been like influenced by her, I guess. So that plot point is very interesting. We are just watching her deal with the loss of her husband and her son, and dealing with the fact that their lives and her relationship with both of them were not perfect whenever they died. And also, she still has a lot of grief from losing her father, who she was close to. So it's a very heavy book. There's been some pretty gory stuff with, like, the reason that they had to go to the hospital in the first place. But I feel like at the point I am now, it's really going to start picking up. I think that this has the potential to be 5 stars at this point. It's kind of reminding me of Crossroads by Laurel Hightower with like the seeing things and then the heavy grief of a mother. I'm looking forward to getting back into this. Fingers crossed it goes well, because like if I could end this with a win, I'd be so happy. The readathon is over and I have also finished In Excess of Dark, and I'm gonna give this one 5 stars. This is definitely a slower paced grief horror book. There is some gross like body horror stuff in here, but generally the focus is grief. It deals with familial trauma and depression and anxiety, specifically with overthinking things and intrusive thoughts, and what happens to you when you keep everything bottled up inside. It made me a little emotional in some parts, just as somebody who does keep things bottled up. I was like, ooh. But overall, I think this was done really well. I really liked the weird aspects of it. I really liked the end, and I'm glad that I got to this one. So if you like grief horror, if you liked Crossroads by Laurel Hightower, it comes out mid-March. I think it's March 15th. So that wraps up this readathon. I had 6 DNFs. I don't remember the percentages. I think I DNF'd between 7% and 25% maybe. Hello. And then I read 10 books. They are on the shorter side. I should have added up how many pages I actually read, but I had some really great reads in here. 2 5 stars with In Excess of Dark and Candy Cane Kills. 4.5 with Ring Shout. How to Survive Your Murder and Don't Move Her, 4 stars. Those were my favorites of the readathon. Obviously, this one was my least favorite, but I'm so glad that I got to all of these books. I got a couple books off of my shelves that I've had for a while. I read 3 arcs from NetGalley. I read some books from the library. Overall, I would say this was a success. 72 Hours will be coming back in the future. The next one will probably have a different theme, so I will be doing that along with Cassidy and Mel. A huge thank you to Monica for joining us for this round as well. I had so much fun. Make sure you are subscribed to everybody. I'll have all the hosts linked in the description. Everyone is going to be putting out videos. I cannot wait to watch them. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you were here, you could leave me a Christmas emoji for Candy Cane Kills. This one was my favorite of the readathon. I need to go sleep for the next 72 hours. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.